Hi everyone, it's Natalie here. It's day 5 of the gratitude challenge, and I didn't pull my cards last night at the end of day 4 because I was just wiped out, to be honest. I didn't work a super long day. We were only in from like 1 to 6, which means I was there at 12:30, from like 12:30 to 6. But it was a lot after not feeling well and not being altogether like pulled, not completely recovered from what is likely just a cold, right? But I definitely was tired. I was definitely tired. And this morning I started to watch videos, as I often do, that are news related while I'm walking the dog. Because I like to keep up on what's happening, and I have a number of different news sources and commentators that are like alternative that I follow and listen to, because I like to get very rounded perspectives about things. And I follow people whose insights I trust, right? So, but even still, it's depressing, and it's scary. And I started to think, why am I doing this when I could be catching up with all of the new people that I've discovered in the last week or so doing this challenge, or because they showed up on my channel as new subscribers, and then I found out that they have they have a channel that I haven't seen before. So that's been really exciting. And that's what I did this morning, was just start like, wait, I could be binging on gratitude this morning. So that's what I did. And it was wonderful. It was just so humanizing to do that, and so very strengthening to do that. In terms of increasing the sense of connection with other people and with humanity, and feeling, more able and willing to share my own process with this, which actually has not been, it's been authentic, but like by last night, I was starting to be like, oh man, what is going on here? Yeah, I mean, the authenticity in this has been beautiful, especially if you've never seen Hillary Hagstone's channel. I highly recommend it. I just discovered her. Beautiful channel. I've only admittedly watched days 1 and 2 of her videos. But it's great to know that I've got all of the, that's something constructive, to be a part of, that I can listen to. And I also listened to and watched Seaside Tarot. Her channel is also new. As well as, of course, Ange, Tiny Trinkets and Tarot. Ange. Yeah, it's been great. It's been really good. So I'm really thankful to know to know both of them, or all 3 of them. And just just to be hearing new voices and new perspectives is always enlightening on some level. It always is. It just increases the sense of understanding. So I just had my breakfast. I'm still drinking my coffee. Gearing up to go in and, be with people. And that is something I love, but it's also very challenging. In part, what I find really challenging is dealing with really, really out there, like I mentioned last night, just very quickly in passing, about people who don't believe in polio. Believe in polio. I can get on board with different perspectives, right? Different perspectives and perspective taking. For example, I was raised in an environment where, being very rational and fact-oriented, fact-based, logic-based was absolutely part of my upbringing. I have an uncle who's a Western doctor, and a very like by the book sort of guy. My mom, his sister is a literature teacher and an English teacher. So, choose your words wisely and carefully. Write it in correct English, speak it in correct English, punctuate it properly, all of those things. And then you need to be able to tell me, where did you find that information? Who said it? Where did it come from? In other words, vet your sources kind of people. And then my dad, who's a mathematician, and ironically, probably the most loosely interpretive individuals in the bunch, right? He's a little bit more willing and able to kind of see things from a different perspective, or not necessarily be married to his own ideas about how things should be, right? And a little bit more open-minded. That said, I think people find it hard to combine or acknowledge that we can sometimes see things from various perspectives simultaneously. And I can explain what I mean by that. So if we were to say, let's pretend, because I'm thinking like, well, what kind of a belief system would you have where you think that polio is fake, right? Or is a made-up disease? And is there a worldview to which that might belong, right? Well, beyond judgment, right? Beyond necessarily thinking in terms of, well, clearly that's a person that's misguided and they're taking in news sources that are fake and conspiracy theories and, unvetted sources and all of those things. But if I were to instead think, wait a minute. What if that person comes, what kind of a system of belief might they come from where there might be another way of viewing it, because there are many cultures in the world who would say, excuse me, just had the breakfast there, these diseases are fake, or, something doesn't exist that science has proven through scientific theory does exist. Well, it would be a non-materialist belief system, probably. And so I started thinking, well, like, what kind of non-materialist belief systems exist? And, quickly came to the realization, like, I believe about, I'm part of a lot of non-materialist philosophies, right? Or philosophies which understand materialism very differently, which overlap or allow for the overlap of science as we think of science, right? As we conceptualize science, right? As something which is primarily fact-based, or which includes the idea that we can prove things, right? Through scientific methodologies. And also allows for the realization or the reality that science cannot possibly encompass everything, all phenomena, right? There are phenomena that science simply cannot explain, right? Those of us in this community, oops, I'm so enthusiastic here. Those of us in this community know that, right? We understand that. And there's also a big difference between being willing to think in terms of to think critically versus putting critical thinking to one side in favor of, in favor of what, in favor of experiential evidence, anecdotal evidence, what's possible, what we might believe, what we may believe which is outside of the ability to be rationalized, et cetera, et cetera. And that opened my mind. That opened my mind a lot and stopped me from just hardcore judging this person and that situation and just kind of calming down a little bit. Now, the fact of the matter is this person probably, I don't really know very well. It's a patient that cold, that we haven't been treating for long. But yeah, I don't know where to go with this, but I guess it's the idea that I kind of had to stop myself and go, okay, what might this be about? Because I've had that experience where, a couple of times now where, you know, we know what fact is, right? We can test for something like mold, okay? And we can test for something like, you know, in someone's environment. We know that it's not healthy. There are whole companies that come in and do mold remediation in homes because it's unhealthy. What I'd never understood about mold is that there's a consciousness to it. There is a, I don't know how else to put it. There is a whole consciousness to the mold. And it's not evil. It just wants to survive. That's what it does. And recognizing that those two things could coexist, that I didn't in that moment have to choose between, do I believe that there is this consciousness that belongs to, you know, or almost an entity that belongs to this physical manifestation, or do I believe that it's just a physical you know, it was a very big, what is it? Cognitive dissonant. It was cognitively dissonant in that moment. Until I recognized, no, they've always existed like this. It's an as above, so below moment, right? They exist here and they exist here. They're not separate. Does that make sense? It's kind of I'm going out into the ether here a little bit. Kind of taking a little adventure this morning. It's morning. That's where I go. Okay, let's just get to drawing some cards, right? Anyway, I can find it challenging to be around people who are anti-vax, anti-mask, anti-science, and just very absolutist about it, right? Alongside those on the other side of the spectrum who are also like, you know, I'm anti, you know, I think I've heard people say horrible things like, I think all people who are unvaccinated deserve what they get, right? Or I think that people who, what was it they said the other day? It was just horrifying. And I thought, no, that's not helpful either. You know, the key in all of this in terms of maintaining sanity is to maintain humanity. I did not mean to create a cheesy rhyme there, but that is what happened. But, you know, maintaining a sense of humanity and being able to see people as human beings, not just as a representation of their ideology, it seems to me to be very important. It's very important. Because I can't, you know, if I'm working on somebody and I'm trying to help them, you know, feel better, and they come in, people mostly are coming in because they don't feel good on some level, or they want to feel better. It's really hard for me not to love them in those moments. I don't know where this beam of light is coming from. It's very sweet, but there we go. That's a little better. I think it's going to keep creeping this way because it's the direction it goes. I should really just shuffle the freaking cards. All right. So I am using the Ravyness Drakon Tarot. And I pre-shuffled the Oracle deck. I did not pre-shuffle this one. Okay, so 7 of Cups is my card. So 7 of Cups, and the choices here are runes in this case, which I really like. Wishes and dreams are the essence of this card. Be aware that opening yourself up to what you desire requires honesty and a willingness to be heartbroken. These are simply desires that have yet to be a grounded plan formed to assist in building a path toward a successful end. If you truly want what you dream, then it's time to begin to design a plan to give yourself the best opportunity for success. Sadly, you will need to remember you cannot affect another's free will of choice. Yeah, it's hard to look at the, you know, I feel like every day I'm getting sort of a reading for the day, you know, as well as a gratitude reflection, because these are the meanings for these cards offer so much in terms of their ability to, I don't know, there's a lot of directions one can go in with these. So what I'm seeing here is, I mean, it's the obvious usual thing, right? Which is choices. So I'm thinking in terms of like, what would be the sort, you know, how might I start to reflect, you know, how might I start or begin the process of reflecting on the gratitude involved in this one. You know, in part, it would mean looking at what choices I've made in the past and thinking through, like, are those things, you know, would I make those same choices again? There we go. Would I make those same choices again? Would I choose differently? I have a lot of regret, actually, about some of the choices that I've made over the last few years. Not because I feel like I made the wrong choices, but because the choices that I made, and I'm just going to start overhanding this deck here. The choices that I made felt like I just had to make a choice, and rather than thinking through the impact or how long do I want this to last or where do I want to go or what's my contingency plan, sometimes I just had to make choices because life was like, you gotta move, you gotta do something right now. I don't know. I feel at times a bit like I don't really know where I'm going. For those of you who don't know me very well yet, I work for a chiropractor right now. My background, I have 2 terminal degrees. I used to be a university professor, and I got really sick of hitting my head against glass ceilings and or having the ladder I was climbing yanked out from under me. And it got to a point where I was like, I'm just kind of done. I don't want to do the things that one has to do and sacrifice every other aspect of my life in order to climb a ladder that I'm not even sure has what I think I want, you know, along the way, much less at the end of it, you know. And it became then a matter of like, do I want to just stay on this ladder and think of it more as a path, right? Rather than someplace I'm trying to get to, someplace I'm really enjoying. And I was happy in that place. And then once again, had the path just kind of like closed off, you know, no more. You're not allowed to, you know, this university says, no, we're not going to keep paying you, you know, to come in and be here and do your thing. And it was very painful. It was very, very painful. That was in 2018. So it's not even been that long ago. Yeah. It's been a wild ride. It's been a wild ride. And so now I work for a chiropractor, and I read tarot professionally, and I am an end-of-life doula. And I presently have 3 clients as an end-of-life doula, which is a lot. Thankfully, it's not a lot at the moment because not everybody needs me all the time and for all the same things. But it can be a lot. And I'm going to take a deep breath and pull a card here for the Oracle deck. Ooh, oh, I love this one. So this one is Ritam, and you can tell there is an owl. Anytime I get owls in my cards, which I seem to a lot with this deck, it always means something very significant. So let's see, 10, it's number 10. We'll just read what she has to say here. Wow. Okay, so I'll just hold this up while I'm reading this. So Ritam is the Sanskrit word for truth and rhythm. This card shows us the power of being part of the rhythms of the universe. There is strength in perceiving our inseparable connection in the unfolding of our every experience. So then she talks about how this is the large eyes of a great horned owl, which is the one I seem to resonate with the most. And she writes, if you've ever watched a great horned owl navigate through a landscape, you know that they move with incredible grace. Though they often fly through the dense forest and tight places, they appear to do so seamlessly. It's not as though they are following a path. Rather, they see and move through the landscape as it comes. They clearly embody an attunement to their surroundings that makes it appear that they are flying with the landscape as opposed to through it. Wow. Based on everything I just said, this feels really validating. And I'm already kind of coming back to a sense of like, no, it's okay. You know, like I don't, you know, just talked about like, I don't plan things well enough, or I don't put enough effort into thinking things through sometimes. And I do tend to do that. I tend to kind of just navigate the landscape and take things as they come. And I feel very out of place in a world that expects you to have a plan. If you have drawn the mantra Ritam today, the cosmic dance is beckoning you to reveal your natural sense of rhythm and bring your full self to the dance floor. Ritam is the underlying heartbeat of all movement in the universe. And movement is what I've been thinking about a lot today, because that was my area of practice. And it's what I'm missing a lot at the moment. I miss teaching, and I miss moving more. Not just moving as in walking, but like dancing and moving, you know. And I know I don't do enough of it. This is so beautiful. When you draw this card, you are in the right place at the right time. You are in harmonious flow with your life and constant and connected to the divine in your actions. The answers you are seeking are being provided to you in your surroundings. You must only be aware to perceive them, to be awake without thought, and have pure perception and consciousness. Call on this ability within yourself, and you will receive messages that you need now. Wow. Well, that definitely makes me feel grateful for my being willing to just be honest about like what's bothering me and the things that are challenging me at the moment, because I spoke them aloud and I got an answer. Or I feel like I got an answer. And when that brings, it just makes my heart like kind of tender and open, and it restores a sense of ease, balance, calm. I would say I do feel grateful. I feel glad. I feel okay. I feel like I'm okay. Like I'm okay. I'm enough. I'm doing enough. It's all okay. And I'm grateful for that. So I'm going to stick with that, and wow, just be with these two for the rest of today, and I'll try coming back again tomorrow to do the draw at the beginning of the day again, and we'll see where we are. All right, friends, I hope you're all staying well and keeping it together in whatever way you can. It's a hard moment. It's a hard moment. So I will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.